meditate, focus, and settle. Good morning. Let's see, first we have a couple of announcements. There's a piano recital in this room today at 12:45. So please remove your belongings before coffee hour. And I guess there is a coffee hour. Tom made coffee. So we have coffee, and I saw some little muffins there. Thank you, Tom. And whoever brought the muffins. This Saturday, April 30th at 7 p.m., the Bridgewater State University Alumni Choir is performing. And if you'd like to get tickets, see Tom St. Thomas or Lisa Troy. Yes, you can. Come on down.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to mention that if you're interested in seeing Godspell, Jim, my husband, directed it, and it's running at Bridgewater State, the theater department now. So they've got a 2 p.m. show this afternoon, and then next Thursday night, Friday night at 8 p.m., and Saturday at 2 in the afternoon. But it's one of those beautiful, old, rich scores, for musical theater. So I saw the run through, and they do a lovely job. So I just wanted to mention that to all of you. Thank you.
Welcome to First Parish. I'm Lisa Rue, and I'm this morning's lay leader. The service is being led today by the Green Sanctuary Committee. And that includes Ginger Irish, Janet Dye, Debbie Baumgarten, who is resting comfortably, and that's it. And AJ Derby is filling in for Miss Debbie. What I like best about First Parish is the sense of community here. I've been a member for 22 years, since early 2000, and I currently am on the Peace Committee and direct the Tone Chimes Choir. We are always open to new members, new ringers. If anyone is interested, you do not have to have any experience musically, but you need to be able to read from left to right and follow instructions. And it's been intergenerational in the past, so if anyone's interested, please see me. We just play a couple times a year, and we rehearse a couple times in the mornings on the weekends before that, before the day that we do the prelude. So it's a good group. First Parish is a welcoming congregation. We proudly fly the rainbow flag to symbolize our welcome to people of every description. We have a dynamic religious education program, which all young people are invited to join during the service. If you are new to First Parish, we hope you will enjoy your experience. We encourage you to sign the guest book at the table at the rear of the sanctuary, making sure to include your name, email, address, if you should wish to receive the monthly newsletter. If you're joining us online, you can request to be put on our mailing list at our website. After the service, we hope you'll join us for coffee hour in the upper parish hall to the right of the sanctuary to share in conversation and friendship. This service is being hosted via Zoom and recorded for Bridgewater Cable TV. The camera is turned off to protect your privacy during the sharing of joys and concerns. And if those in the congregation wouldn't mind turning to look at the camera to wave at our fellow Zoom attendees. Say hi, Jan. Welcome, good morning, happy Earth. And we will now have our prelude, I do believe. Janet's going to light the chalice. In the words of Laura Kim Joyner, we light this chalice for the nourishment of our beings, for the food that feeds our bodies, for the food for thought that feeds our minds, and for the food that feeds our spirits, the light of our time shared together. Please rise in body or spirit to join together in the affirmation of our covenant and the aspiration. Love is the spirit of the church, and service is gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another. Ginger will be sharing the opening words.
Our opening words this morning are by Robert F. Kennedy. It is from numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a person stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he or she sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. And please join us next in singing number 361 in your gray hymnal, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. And stand as you are able.
For today's story, which is shared with all ages, and we just happen to have two kids of all ages, not too young. These are my friends from Vermont. Their grandmother is my college friend, and their daughters, their mom, Heidi, is here. So Pam and Heidi are here visiting this morning. And when they arrived on Thursday, the girls, I said, I've got a story of all ages for church, I sure would like to have you help me. So we have Katie and Natalie, who have had lots of fun, I think, doing lots of stuff outside, and they're Vermonters, so you know that they're all about the earth. So they're going to help me with the story this morning. So, I've got to use this. So the tale was written, this tale is a tale of 2 heads of lettuce. This tale was written by Reverend Melissa Carvel Zimmer, with some changes by me, of course. And I have a story for you, she says. It is a tale of 2 heads of lettuce. This one, you can walk around with it. This one was grown in Salinas Valley, California. It was grown according to conventional methods, industrial farming by a multinational corporation. They used chemical fertilizers and pesticides to grow it, low-wage migrant workers to quickly and efficiently harvest it and get it into trucks, which drove 3,000 miles to Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and put on the shelves of the market basket. It required 4,000 calories of fossil fuel just to get it here. So, on the other hand, this bag of greens was grown, and you walk around, was grown, maybe people could even eat a bite if they want. It was grown according to sustainable small-scale farming methods, and this is my part, from Freedom Food Farm in Rainham, Massachusetts. Chuck and Marie, who've been here in the summer services, one time they were here telling about their farm, sustainable farm, they use natural fertilizer and no pesticides to grow it. One of Freedom Food Farm's team members tended the harvest and within a few days of sale. And I know when I go pick up my weekly produce there, they've just picked it, like maybe the day before. It stays fresh so long. And it's only 5 miles from my house in Rainham, so it's on the northern side of Rainham. And these products can also be purchased in several farmers markets within a 40-mile radius up here, and there are lots more farmers markets popping up. So the question for all of you is, think about how we decide which head of lettuce is better for a better deal. Just totally a better deal. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, girl.
Now is the time in our service for the sharing of joys and sorrows, those matters great or small that touch us, our families, and those we love. Those of you attending online may share your joys and sorrows by typing them in the website's chat section, and they'll be shared. AJ is going to share a reading with us now.
This is a poem that was written by the Unitarian Universalist Lynn Unger, and this was written in March of 2020. It's entitled Imagine. Imagine with me for a moment. Don't worry, I'm not saying it's real. Imagine, if you can, that there has been not a calamity, but a great awakening. Pretend just for a moment that we all so loved our threatened earth that we stopped going on cruises, limited international flights, worked on cherishing the places where we already are. In this pretty fantasy, everyone who possibly can stops commuting, spends the extra time with their kids or pets or garden. We have the revelation that everyone needs health care, sick leave, steady work. It occurs to us that healthcare workers are heroes, also teachers, not to mention the artists of all kinds who teach us resilience, and joy. Imagine, if you will, that we turned to our neighbors in mutual aid, trading eggs for milk, checking in on those who are elderly or alone. Imagine each of us felt suddenly called to wonder, in this moment, what does the world need from me? What are my gifts? Yes, I know it's just a fantasy. The world could never change so radically overnight. But imagine.
And now is the time for our offering this morning. During the months of April and May, proceeds from Share the Plate will support Kids to Camp. This is our official Kids to Camp service each year. And Kids to Camp is Green Sanctuary Committee's environmental justice project. It funds a week of camp for children and youth at Natural Resources Sheep Pasture Nature Camp in Easton. Your generosity has enabled us to send more than 50 children to attend camp over the past 13 years. Sheep Pasture itself is 154 acres of farm, forest, meadows, and streams that provide a perfect outdoor lab for children to learn about caring for the environment while reaping the benefits of nature and having new experiences. If you would like to make a donation to Kids to Camp, please make your check out to First Parish and note Kids to Camp in the memo line. We thank you so much.
This year, the Green Sanctuary Committee introduced a new column to Bridging called Eating from the Earth. We hope you are enjoying it and that it will encourage changes in these key areas: supporting local farms and farmers, decreasing consumption of food requiring a lot of resources, and preserving the planet. Our presentation today draws from the Ethical Eating Conscience Statement adopted by the UUA in 2011. This statement provides a terrific understanding of the impact of our food choices in the ways in which we can live out our principles, both for respecting the interdependent web and of recognizing and valuing the inherent worth of every being. As part of our dedication to environmental justice, we are very aware of the inequities in the global food system. Ethical eating recognizes the moral consequences of our food choices. The ways our societies raise, buy, and consume our food has direct effects on the earth, plants and animals, and humans who work to make our food available. And we have a slide up here. This is the opening of the conscience statement. Aware of our interdependence, we acknowledge that eating ethically requires us to be mindful of the miracle of life we share with all beings. With gratitude for the food we have received, we strive to choose foods that minimize harm and are protective of the environment, consumers, farmers, and all those involved in food production and distribution. In reviewing resources from the UUA, we stumbled upon a sermon entitled Giving Up Bananas. And this was delivered by Reverend Peter Fredericks, who is the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Delaware County, Media, PA. And this was from November 2008. We so liked his words that we decided to share them with you today. They offer an overview of what it means to really think about the ramification of our choices that we make to the animals, the workers, and the earth. The following words are excerpts from his sermon. We have taken a few liberties and updated Reverend Frederick's remarks that Janet will now share with us.
So here we hear from Fredericks. There was the big question: what is my relationship to the earth and the creatures on the earth? Is it here for me, or am I part of it? How far does the interdependent web exist? How far does it extend? Do I really believe all of us are intimately connected with all existence? It has been said that one of the functions of ministry is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So I want to be right up front with you, he says. My goal in sharing this story with you and telling you what I'm about to tell you is to raise questions. They will haunt you too. I want you to be haunted while walking the aisles of Market Basket, Roach Brothers, and even Trader Joe's. To be haunted as you unload groceries from those plastic bags that seem to reproduce like rabbits beneath your kitchen sink. To be haunted as you serve your Easter dinner to your family of beautiful ham with raisin sauce, lemon meringue pie, to watering mouths.
Good morning. Well, You have before you here bananas, oranges, grapes, tomatoes, and even an avocado. Where's the apple out there, folks? There it is. All right. And the grapes, they come from Chile, all the way from Chile. The bananas, yeah, comes from Guatemala. And these particular fruits that you see here, they're delicious and nutritious fruit, good and good for you. And as I said, the bananas come from Guatemala, the apple was grown in Washington State, the grapes from Chile, and these particular tomatoes here, they come from Ontario, Canada. They're still attached to the vine. So, you know that they must be vine ripe. An avocado, we have an avocado out there too, way back there. That avocado was grown down in Mexico. And the oranges, where's the orange? Oh, that particular orange comes all the way from California. All told, this bowl of fruit has traveled a distance of more than 18,400 miles to be here with us today. Definitely our most far-flung guest in this service. It's not news to tell you that bananas aren't grown in the backyards of Bridgewater or on farms in New England. And did you know Americans consume about 400 gallons of oil per year? Yes, they consume almost 400 gallons. I lost my place. Yes, that we consume about 400 gallons of oil per year for the food we eat due to the oil used in the process of growing crops, raising livestock, and transporting food all over the world to your local market via those things. And it's also some airplanes, trains. Author and scientist Stephen L. Hopp writes sarcastically that a quick way to improve food-related fuel economy would be to buy a quart of motor oil and drink it. He then goes on to point out that becoming a less energy-dependent nation may just need to start with a good breakfast. If every American family were to eat just one meal each week that was composed of locally and organically raised foods, we would reduce our country's oil consumption by over 1.1 million barrels every single week.
These look great. The whole idea behind the concept of ethical eating is that we think about the food that we are putting in our mouths. And by this, I don't mean the nutritional value, whether it's good for us or whether it's going to go straight from our lips to our hips. Ethical eating is consumption wedded to awareness and intention. It is about educating ourselves about the true costs of the foods that we buy and consume. It's about facing up to the ugly facts of the agri-industrial complex. It's knowing, for example, that while we've increased the average yield of an acre of farmland from 24 bushels of corn in 1930 to more than 160 bushels per acre in the early 2000s. To achieve this astonishing improvement, we apply about 1.5 billion pounds of nitrogen to the soil each year in the form of fertilizers. About half of that nitrogen is taken up into the atmosphere and falls as acid rain. or stays up there as greenhouse gases, or it washes into our watersheds, causing massive algae blooms that choke off all other aquatic life. Amy Hassinger, Ethical Eating, from the UU World, spring of 2007. In 2021, the U.S. Geological Survey indicated that U.S. manufacturers produced 14 million metric tons of nitrogen fertilizer. U.S. production was augmented by 1.9 million tons imported from Trinidad, the Tobago, Canada, and Venezuela. And you can find that research that was done in the Farm Doc Daily, dated March 17th, 2022.
As Unitarian Universalists, we proclaim to affirm and support respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. What does that mean? How far does it extend, and what does it require of us? The most recent proposal revisions to our principles elaborated on the seventh principle thusly.
Inspired by the beauty and holiness of the earth, we become more willing to relinquish material desires. We recognize the need for sacrifice as we build a world that is both just and sustainable. We are called to be good stewards, restoring the earth and protecting all beings. In the choices we make about the foods we eat, what does it mean to be good stewards? And to work to restore the earth and protect all beings. This is the conclusion of Reverend Frederick's words.
So here we are in Bridgewater, Massachusetts in the spring of 2022. What can we do to eat more ethically, and what have we already accomplished as a church community? In 2008, with the support of the First Parish congregation, you folks, our fledgling Green Sanctuary Committee undertook the process of becoming a certified Green Sanctuary. We were one of the first to gain this status in the United States. Our green commitment of Unitarian churches, that is, our green commitment, which is posted throughout the church, you can read it any place, we made sure of that, calls for us to work toward the practices that foster our values. Ethical eating reflects several of our principles. Much attention has been given to our seventh principle. We know that industrialized agriculture, as it now exists, flies in the face of the principles and threatens the interdependent web. It causes massive pollution, reduces biodiversity, and destroys land integrity at an alarming rate. But let's not overlook how our other principles fit into the equation of ethical, compassionate, and sustainable food choices. When we consider the inherent worth and dignity of every person, how do we ignore the family in a poor village in Asia, for example, whose land has been degraded when it was taken over by multinational corporations to produce wheat for snacks for us? And what about the migrant workers here in our own country who are exposed regularly to dangerous pesticides and can't get decent medical care? Don't these people have worth and dignity equal to ours? Recent research confirms that many people know instinctively that animals think, they feel, and have complex social relationships, and suggests that the worth and dignity of those beings is as inherent as are the human beings. Should we not extend our principles to them? At First Parish, We strive to live these values by using and promoting fair trade products. There are examples up here. I'm in charge of that. So it says equal exchange coffee and tea and chocolate and nuts and olive oil, as well as reducing food waste. We have a composting bin underneath the sink for our coffee grounds and things in the kitchen, and preserving resources through sustainable products and practices, which we certainly promote and try to inform people about their availability.
Our talk today highlights the consequences of the choices we make. As much as possible, we should try to frequent local farms and farmers markets. Stop by roadside stands for eggs laid by chickens in your neighborhood. Buy local and seasonal products and decrease consumption of foods that travel long distances or require excessive processing or resources to produce. We should be mindful of the treatment of the animals and workers as we are willing and able. Reduce the amount of meat, particularly beef, that we consume. We must support practices that benefit the soil and the waters. In a recent special report, the Tufts University Health and Nutrition newsletter outlined 5 research-backed ideas for a more sustainable diet and lifestyle. So here are 5 ways you can begin to act on our UU values when you make your food choices.
Number 1, eat less. If we in the U.S. could cut back on overeating, it would be good for the environment and our health, says Timothy Griffin, Ph.D., a professor in nutrition, agriculture, and sustainable food systems at Tufts Friedman School. Try serving yourself smaller portions and waiting to see if you are truly hungry before taking seconds. Other strategies include eating off a smaller plate, eating without distractions, putting your fork down between bites, sharing with someone, and packing up some food for the next day.
One-third of the food is thrown away in the U.S., says Dr. Griffin. Not only are we throwing away money, we are wasting the water used to grow the food, the oil to deliver it, and other natural resources that go into creating food and getting it to your table. To cut waste, he offers these suggestions. Plan meals, be realistic. Don't buy the jumbo bag if you're not or are unable to use it before it goes bad. Store food properly and freeze extra. Have leftover day. To use up bits and pieces from previous meals, repurpose, cook edible stems like beet tops instead of discarding them, make broth from veggie ends, use mushy berries in smoothies or oatmeal, compost when all else fails, and trust your senses more than the expiration dates.
Make smart swaps. Some foods have a larger impact on the environment than others. Plants have the smallest environmental footprint, then seafood, followed by poultry, pork, and dairy. Beef has the largest impact.
Another way is patronizing shops in your neighborhood, supporting the local economy, and buying food grown locally cuts back on air pollution created by shipping food to your area. Buying local also allows people to engage with the food system, says Dr. Griffin. Going to a farmer's market, for example, allows you to talk to the person who made whatever you're eating. It connects you to your food. So many of us know Sam and Debbie Baumgarten's daughter, Kelsey. Debbie wanted to share these pictures of Kelsey. She is a baker in Brattleboro and sells her gluten-free desserts, all made with legumes, at a farmer's market. She's also the author of a cookbook, The Hidden Bean, which I have a copy of myself. Debbie wanted to share these photos of her. These are two photos. These are both of Kelsey. One at age 4 holding a chicken, probably for the first time, and the second one last year with her own chickens. She says, "My favorite part of eating locally is that I think of the producers while I'm eating. For example, if I have an egg and toast breakfast, I look out the window and thank my chickens for the egg. I think of the baker at the farmer's market who made the loaf of sourdough. I think of the farmer who grew the microgreens that I sneak in for some extra nutrition, and I picture the heat of summer harvesting the garlic from my garden."
So we've all heard it before. Reduce, reuse, recycle. There's so many ways we can do this. Packaged food creates massive amounts of waste, much of which is difficult or impossible to recycle. Plastic is filling our landfills and clogging our oceans. Use reusable water bottles. This has been my mission at the Y forever. And coffee cups, and think about it. And we do this at church. We reuse everything like that. We don't buy disposable things. And think about foods and how they're packaged. Consider glass jars and bottles, then wash and reuse them. We can do lots more. There's always more to do about this, but it's really important, I think.
The UUA has outlined calls to action which reflect these and other ways to advocate for the benefit of animals, plants, food workers, the environment, and humanity as a whole. Their statement concludes with this thought: "With gratitude and reverence for all life, we savor food, mindful of all that has contributed to it. We commit ourselves to more equitable sharing of the earth's bounty." Thank you all very much, and I want to thank AJ for filling in at the last minute for Deb, who is at home healing.
Okay, please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, "Earth Was Given as a Garden," which is number 207 in your gray hymnal.
Our closing words today are by Albert Schweitzer. A person is ethical only when life as such is sacred, that of plants and animals as that of other men and women, and when one devotes oneself helpfully to all life that is in need of help. Please join us now in our threefold amen.
As Janet extinguishes the light of the chalice, please join us. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you, Janet, Tony, and Denise.